So that done. I think it's been a break from our usual practice of riding on the highways to evaluate or try and understand or get an impression of what the new motorcycle is all about. And today we did it in the city because it's primarily a city bike from what I can understand, the Royal Enfield Hunter. What were your thoughts?
So when I came in the morning, when I saw the motorcycle, I thought, is this a Royal Enfield? It didn't look like a Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield, I thought it's something big, bulky, macro. You get that feeling of the road presence. I told, no, this is not a Royal Enfield, nothing impressive.
That was exactly my view as well. The flowing designs, the lines still has a lot of Royal Enfield heritage in it. But when I slung my leg across the seat and pushed it backwards, and that is where it struck me, this is not a typical Royal Enfield.
Initially, when, like I told you, when I saw the motorcycle, I was not much impressed. But when I sat on the bike and started it, and the first impression was, wow, it sounds good.
See, for me, from a road presence perspective, I felt it was like, okay. But I'm not comparing it with the rest of the Royal Enfields.
I'm doing that,
Yeah, if you possibly put it in a similar contemporary segment, which the 250, I think that's what it would be more up against. And I think it stands out there, if I actually think of it. And yeah, that was my impressions as well. It was so very easy pulling the bike back up. I think it has the same J platform engine.
Yeah, it has the same engine as a Meteor engine. That's what it's used in the new Classic and the Meteor.
But it seems to be a lot more refined in this.
Probably they might have done something which is refined, I don't know. But it definitely is sounds more smoother.
Yes.
And more peppier. It's got that top. It's got the top to where you can wave in and wave out of the traffic. That's what I think it's been aimed at. The particular segment of customers who go to their office and the college crowd, where they can do their daily activities in going around the city. This is a perfect motorcycle for that. That's for when I started in the traffic, I could easily, manage the traffic.
Exactly, you can hustle the bike in between corners, in between nooks, look for those gaps. Yes, this can be chucked in.
Yes.
And sitting on it, the handling part, which is what we are basically talking of, I felt like I'm sitting on an arrowhead. Yes, the suspension is a bit stiff when you compare it with the Classic or the other Royal Enfield bikes, but therein, the handling is a charm.
Yeah, definitely handling is fantastic. You can just, the cornering is very, very easy in this. And you're talking about the suspension, I definitely, there's some, it's not that luxurious as the other Royal Enfield. Definitely they'll be taking into cost consideration while probably designing those shocks.
I'm not sure if it's a cost cutting, possibly the way it has been sprung up. I don't know. Possibly they would have stiffened the springs a little bit more.
And definitely what's to be pointed out, it's fantastically priced at, I think around 2,09,000, that's the top end. That's a very, very attractive price for someone to get into a motorcycle from when they want to upgrade from the 150s and 180s.
True. And also something that I also noted in the Hunter is the fit and finish.
Yeah.
I think Royal Enfield has been improving it by leaps and bounds. Yes, there are still a few ugly cables that looks here and there.
I wanted to ask you that. We were talking about all the positives. Are there any negatives in this?
Yeah, that's what. But I see them improving. You go back to the days of the Interceptor when it was launched, and then you had the Meteor, the Classic, and now this. Even though the wires look ugly, I think they've been treated well to at least look better than what it was during the initial days. But I think they can hide it a little bit more, make it, keep it away from the public eye. I think the aesthetics can definitely improve, is what I feel. That's my 2 cents. If I have to, pick up something to moan about initially in its cycle.
For me, probably they would have designed it in such a way that it can perform good in the city. But for me, if I stretch in the gears, it dies down very fast. You can't go on for a further distance. You have to change the gears instantly, more quicker than other Royal Enfields. So probably in the highways definitely be a concern. Definitely going in a highway will be a more probably a top end might hit tops at 100, 105 maybe.
I think it's an ideal stepping stone. I think that's what the bike is meant to be from what I can understand. So I take it on the positive side, and I think the bike comes with its usual accessories. The bike that I rode had the touring seat on it, and definitely it was much firmer.
True.
And it was very comfortable compared to the stock seat. So I think a piece of advice, people who are going to look for it, the easiest thing that they can do is upgrade to a touring seat, I think. So your overall thoughts, done.
Neat, compact, cute, good looker. Like as usual, I can't pick much of negatives. 80%, 90% is positive, maybe 10% I can crib if I have to search something to crib about. It doesn't. I mean, I can't stretch on my gears. That's the only thing which I can. And it for me, probably around 6-footer, it looks a bit too small.
So the thing for me is like I agree with everything that you said. It's a neat, compact thing, and it's an entry to the Royal Enfield lifestyle. It's very affordable, and I think it's bang per buck for the city rider. So overall, we agree it's a decent bike for the city.
So definitely.
Nimble, sharp in handling.
If I have to mark it on a scale of 10 as a commuter city motorcycle, I would definitely give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would do more or less the same. But I think we need to hear what Bosky and TMK have to say. Okay. So, Bosky, after a long time, exchanging notes on a new arrival in the market.
Yes, and I think it's a good.
What do you say?
To summarize the Hunter, I would say it is different. Different because it's not like a Royal Enfield, typical. Most part it is not like a Royal Enfield. There are some characteristics, which is a characteristic of the brand, the engine, the layout, and everything else. Blah blah blah. This stands apart a little, and I think that's a great thing because they have been able to do this. I've always had doubts. Can they make something that is not a Royal Enfield?
Yeah.
I think they can.
I think they showed it.
That's what I would say. It is different.
And when you say different, would you want to elaborate more? Is it more from a ride perspective, or is it more from a look and feel perspective that you're saying this, Bosky?
Look and feel, yes, it looks great. It stands out. Though physically it's a small motorcycle. However, the design language, the thing, it stands out. All that is good. The biggest change is the flickability. Yeah, that's the.
I agree with you.
It's normally the Enfields I have had all along. I've had a few over the last 15 years, and most of them want to go straight, which is a good thing. Okay, they're not very fond of wanting to turn. The Hunter seems to be ahead of that. So it's willing, ready to turn and flick. In fact, a couple of sharp U-turns, I kind of overdid it. I gave it a big heave. Turn, boy! I almost fell off. I had to save that spill, a U-turn spill at a signal just down the road. So I said, okay, maybe the road was wet, maybe it is not. It's not me, it's never me, it's never my fault, right? It's always the motorcycle. So then I did it one more time, I realized, oops, I don't need to heave this thing, I just need to gently lean it around. So that's what is, it's very different.
I agree with you, Bosky. I think that's exactly what I felt when I took off the bike for the small ride. And I fully echo when you say the U-turn, coming from the Thunderbird, riding this, and it's like class apart. Even the Himalayan as well. I think even the Himalayan looks a bit heavy and unwieldy when you compare it with the
That's
Hunter.
got the original DNA. All of the that, you know.
Yeah.
This has changed the game. It's the wheels. It's a massive difference from 18 from a Himalayan 21 to a Scram 19 to a 17.
What is it that you want to pick that could be improved?
The good old thumper is still there. That is one that is not different.
Has a little bit of clatter in it still?
No. The Meteor, the Classic, the new Classic and the Meteor have that combustion clatter, which we spoke about in our earlier video.
Yes.
So under a bit of hard acceleration, there is a bit of the clatter, clack, 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 clack. This doesn't seem to have that. So they have done some work on the ignition, on fueling or mapping.
Could be, yeah.
Doesn't have. What has happened now, it's become so light, so flickable. The drawback, the engine has become a drawback.
Yeah, that was what Durden was also mentioning. You quickly run out of the rev range, but then technically you are in the 90 speed.
That's good enough. Yeah.
Good
It's
enough for the
purpose
city.
built for the city. And good for an occasional highway trip like what TMK mentioned. We could go for a trip on the highway also. Predominantly meant for the city. And it's nailed that aspect of it.
Yes.
The only area, like I said, area to improve, the engine cannot keep up with the dynamics of the motorcycle. It's so good that ye dil mange more. That's the only thing. But that's the heart and soul of the Royal Enfield.
Royal Enfield,
Right? So, even in this, from the Meteor to the Classic to this, there is a refinement. It's remained the same, but they have made some progress.
So if you summarize overall, how do you take the bike?
Brilliant city motorcycle, great entry point. Price-wise, nailed it. Purpose built for the city, commuting, nailed it.
Yeah.
And it's a Royal Enfield.
Royal Enfield, yeah.
This is 14 kilos lighter than the Classic.
Yeah.
However, it feels much lighter than just 14 kilos.
Now the other thing that I would also look at, Bosky, is people who are vertically challenged, 5'6", and downward. I think they will find the bike really good. They'll find the bike more comfortable. So Bosky, before we close, how do you think, if at all, you would want to rate it 0 to 10 or
0
things
to
like
10,
that?
I will maybe give it a 7.
Are you being harsh?
No.
Or you have your explanations for it?
Yeah, it doesn't have the grunt. It runs out of grunt. Durden also mentioned that.
Yes.
It runs out of grunt. It's perfectly good for the city, nothing wrong. If it had a little more grunt, 8 or 9. Engine performance aspect is what make it's 7. 7 on 10. It's pretty good, 70. I hardly scored 70 in any of my exams in college. So I guess 70 is a good score. Good talking to you today.
Yes.
Good to be back after a long time.
Yes.
So hopefully we would be more regular with the videos. Hello,
Hey, hi Bosky.
TMK. You are now on your 250 adventure.
250 adventure.
How many
yes.
kilometers have you run on it?
It's close to now 5,000 kilometers.
You moved from that machine this morning to something completely different.
True.
What was the first few things that came to your mind when you sat and started to move on it? Immediately, quickly.
Oh,
Say it.
quickly.
No filtering.
I felt it's equally flickable. Though the handlebar is smaller than my KTM, it's easily maneuverable, probably due because of the weight. So it's very unlikely of a Royal Enfield to have such a bike which is so light. That was a pleasant surprise for me. So it was more easily maneuverable. Gearing, I could really shift the gears really well. That is again a change in the other Royal Enfields that have.
This shifts much smoother and
Much
more
smoother.
positive. Yeah.
Exact
Okay.
slotting is there. Of course, the positioning. I'm used to a Thunderbird, which is more like a cruiser type. This is more aggressive compared to the Thunderbird styling. So it helps me. It psychologically helps me to
Go faster.
go faster. So those were the quick things that I noticed about the Hunter. Again, I'm really surprised with this bike, particularly for a Royal Enfield, to come up with a lighter bike a very flickable bike, which can do both the city as well as a little bit of highway.
And he is pleasantly surprised with this, thrilled with this. He feels it is lighter than his KTM. So I think Royal Enfield must have done a damn good job on this motorcycle.
Indeed. One other thing is the color looks per se, right?
Yeah.
They've done a really good job with all the looks and the finish and many other things.
So what is your overall feedback? To summarize, what do you think of this motorcycle?
A good bike for city and for shorter rides on the highway. Good looks, definitely eye-catching. Royal Enfield has been known for these heavy bikes and then all kinds of issues, right, about braking and all that. They are slowly moving towards better bikes. So I'm really hopeful about Royal Enfield. So what will happen is the younger lot will pick up these bikes.
Yeah.
I'm sure that more and more will shift from the more expensive bikes, like it could be even a KTM or the Triumphs and all that, and then start picking this bike. Right? The Royal Enfield has always been that brand which introduces people from the daily commute on a city road to commute plus
Highway.
pleasure riding.
Pleasure, leisure, yeah.
Leisure riding. So this is another bike which will kind of do that job in a better way. It will prepare you for bigger bikes.
I haven't heard you give so much of feedback about any motorcycle ever. So that shows how much this motorcycle has tickled his funny bone. So he's enjoying himself. So thanks. Thanks. Great hearing from you after a while. Enjoy your adventures on your adventure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
TMK mentioned that he felt this bike to be lighter than his Duke, his 250 ADV.
We need to find out what he's been drinking in the morning. I don't know if he's hit the bottle in the morning, but